I'm a nearly adult male, and when I was around 9, my dad, 39, started seeing a friend of my mom's who cheated on my mom. They married and they now have 3 kids together. My dad asked for custody and the court granted custody to have me on the weekends. He seemed happy to have me and always tried to include me in everything, but it was kind of weird and frustrating. Even tried to make me call his wife mom and went for full custody several times since being with his wife, and making me accept his new family was way more important than spending actual time with me alone. I stopped going to his house when I was 14, and he tried to fight for full custody after my mom started dating my stepdad, a nice guy. But I told him to stop. The other reason why I stopped going, and I never told my dad this one, is because his wife was so hostile towards me. My dad used to pay attention to me when I was there, so I think she didn't like it that way. And one day she told me behind my dad's back that I was an obstacle to my dad's happiness and that I should just stay with my mom full time. Their wedding anniversary was 5 days ago. I didn't want to go to the celebration, but he called my mom to threaten that he'd go to court if I didn't go. He took his 4 kids, including me, his wife, parents, and parents-in-laws to celebrate at a nice restaurant once there. He said that he had 6 tickets for vacations. I didn't say anything, but then he looked at me and said, "One is for you." I said, "Thanks, but I'm not going." He seemed angry and said, "Okay, I've had enough. Why don't you want to go?" I said, "Just because," but then he asked me the same questions 5 more times. So the 6th time I said, "Because I hate your wife." Then he started asking why repeatedly, so I ended up telling him all the main things she said to me behind his back. He was seemingly uncomfortable but told us to finish our meal. No one talked for the rest of the night, and after we finished I asked my stepdad to pick me up. I haven't spoken to my dad since. He's just sent me a message asking if I had changed my mind about the trip. But I said no. My cousin told me that my dad is staying at my grandparents' now. His wife texted me yesterday calling me a brat and asking if I was happy for potentially destroying my half-sibling's home life. But I just ignored her. My cousin says that the kids are hurt and crying because my dad isn't at home, and she says that I should have just said other things or agreed and then told them later that I wasn't going. So am I the idiot, not the idiot for a teen? You have some tact, which is incredibly refreshing and makes me optimistic about the future. So good for you. Yes, you probably could have or should have waited to say you weren't going in private. But your dad's behavior after repeatedly asking the same questions makes me think it wouldn't have ended there. So you said no to your credit. You attempted not to ruin the meal by not answering the following white questions you were bombarded with. You tried. He wouldn't let it go. So you finally answered now for a grown woman to tell a child, her stepson no less, that the kid is standing in the way of his father's happiness. Now that's classy. If stepmom and dad want to play stupid games, they don't get to whine about stupid prizes. You didn't ruin the marriage, she did, by not accepting that you and your dad are a package deal. She pushed you away, his own son, because she couldn't stand having to share attention. Dad's marriage was doomed when she uttered those words behind his back. You did the right thing by telling the truth to your dad. However, make sure to save all her hateful messages in case she tries to lie her way out. Not to mention she ruined OP's home life. Pretty rich of her to blame OP for ruining his half-sibling's home life when she did it to him first. She's the problem here. OP really should take screenshots of her continuing to bully him and send them to his father. Unfortunately, she hasn't learned and is still trying to manipulate OP. The fact she says OP ruined their half-sibling's home. The level of hypocrisy for real. Now your stepmother has ruined 2 marriages. Like, yes, let me celebrate the anniversary of the day you married the woman you ditched my mom for. How is the dad so oblivious? Oh, please don't let your father off so easily. He cheated on your mom and then tried to erase her so he could erase his own terrible actions. By the way, your cousin is a complete idiot for saying what she did. There is no reason your father should have his image protected anymore. Story 2. My ex and I divorced 3 years ago. I thought everything was fine, but she raised the possibility of an open relationship, and I didn't want that. That was a deal breaker for her because she said she's learned that she's non-monogamous by nature and felt stifled by not being able to express it. I offered to go to counseling with her about it, but I just don't want to be married to someone who wasn't faithful. So we split up, and the kids, 18 female, 16 male, now did not take it. Well, especially my daughter. My ex insisted that we don't tell the kids about her being poly and that she's the cause of the breakup because she wasn't ready to be out. So we had to count to the divorce as just not being happy or compatible with each other. My daughter has always been very sharp, and she got stuck on the whys of the breakup because it didn't make sense to her. We put both of the kids in therapy and tried to keep the divorce as painless as possible, but my daughter took it hard and is an angrier person as a result, and it broke my heart. My ex has agreed not to expose the kids to her lifestyle until they're both 18, but my daughter figured out that she was dating and their relationship suffered. My daughter went to college this year, but I got a text from her a couple of weekends ago asking to come to my place for the weekend to talk about something, and of course I said yes. It turned out that her mom had posted about her situation and divorce in a poly group on Facebook, and someone sent my daughter a screenshot. My daughter asked if this was right and the real reason we got divorced. At this point the cat is out and I'm not going to lie to my kid's face. So I said yes. She had some follow-up questions about why we didn't tell the truth, etc. I asked her not to tell her brother due to our agreements, and she said no, he deserves to know what mom is really like. So big mess. Both kids are angry with their mom and won't see or talk to her. My ex is losing her mind at me over it. And her family is angry because they think I caused it by not saying it was a hoax. I don't know who sent the screenshot or why, but they kicked over a major hornet's nest. I guess I broke the agreement. I just didn't want to lie to my kid with the evidence right on the table, not the idiot. If your ex wanted to keep it a secret from the kids, she shouldn't have posted publicly about it. Instead, she told the whole world why you two split. Her judgment isn't very good. I wouldn't put much stock in her claims. This is entirely on her. You agreed not to tell the kids you didn't. Your daughter found out and asked you if it was true. You never agreed to flat out lie to your daughter's face and destroy her trust in you. Also, your ex could avoid blame. Everyone getting on your case about this can kick rocks for wanting you to hurt your daughter and your relationship with her. If your ex-wife was so stifled that she had to divorce you when she did, she was ready to be out. I don't mean that in a judgy way, but simply and practically, if your ex was going to date others, she ran the very real risk of being outed by someone else. And that's exactly what happened. Instead of her explaining her preference to your kids, she decided to hide it, which would do more damage to their relationship, as she's finding out now. She had an opportunity to educate them on why she felt the need to leave but wasted it. Not the idiot. You did the right thing for your daughter, being a child of divorced parents. I know your daughter's situation very well. It's terrible when you know you aren't being told the real reason for the divorce and you know you're being lied to. It took me 20 years to find out the real reason. Feeling all alone. I wasn't being told the truth. It was a huge relief to finally know the truth. Glad your daughter figured it out sooner. Story 3. My best friend and I have been childhood friends and now we're both 26. He recently got engaged to his girlfriend of 5 years. His girlfriend never liked me and I always felt she was jealous of the friendship my best friend and I had. My best friend even once admitted to me that his girlfriend is jealous of me because I have a nicer body and a prettier face than she, and she thinks that someday he might leave her for me. I laughed and moved on because I didn't want to deal with it. Years have passed and her insecurities haven't stopped that much. But in the process, my best friend distanced himself from me and we barely hang out anymore or spoke. I tried to reach out, but he always finds excuses on why he can't see me, and I'm sure this is her doing anyway. They're now planning their wedding and we started getting more chatty with my best friend, now discussing wedding details and stuff. I asked him if he or his fiancée would consider me for their wedding party, and he said he would have 3 of his friends groomsmen only, and he doesn't know what his fiancée will do with bridesmaids yet. So I reached out to her and asked her if I'd be included so I'd know. She replied in a very rude tone of how I can't be seriously asking that question. I told her to get over herself and that if I wanted her fiancé I'd have taken him long ago, and she's lucky I haven't made any move yet, and she should thank me instead of being insecure and trying to exclude me from my friend's big day. She hung up on me and I immediately notified my friend, who in turn told me I was an idiot and I must immediately apologize. I said she was rude first and he said he didn't care. Am I the idiot I might be because I insulted my best friend's fiancé after all? She excluded me from the wedding. Did you seriously try to invite yourself to be in the wedding party? How tactless can you be? This is embarrassing. I'm embarrassed for you since you don't have the self-awareness to be if you were looking to drive the final nail in the coffin of your friendship. Congrats, you are the idiot. And if I were you, I wouldn't expect an invitation to the wedding. And how insanely rude and inappropriate she was to call and ask to be included in someone else's bridal party and then go off about how she could have easily had the fiancé if she wanted to. She'd probably not even be invited as a guest. And with good reason. And something tells me that this type of behavior from O.P. has more to do with why the best friend has distanced himself than a soon-to-be bride. Does O.P. You are the idiot. Get over yourself. This is such classic, just one of the guys and not like other girls rhetoric. You sound like someone who's deeply insecure that you are no longer the top priority in his life. I'm not a jealous person and I wouldn't want you around my partner either with that type of attitude. How does a person get to 26 years of age and have no social etiquette? People don't ask or demand to be included in other people's wedding parties. That's just not how people behave. Crazy that you thought it was appropriate to do and then to give the bride attitude because you didn't get your way. The audacity is outrageous. Story 4. My female 26 wedding was last week. It was amazing except for this issue that caused a fallout between my in-laws and me. My husband, 26, has a younger sister, 19, Cindy, who's disabled and has been in a wheelchair since she was little. I noticed my in-laws do not make her a priority and never take her out or include her in any family event, and instead have her stay home. I felt bad for her since the day I met her. She's sweet but looks broken and lonely. Mother-in-law started huffing because I tried to get Cindy to join us while eating or going to the beach. Mother-in-law flat out told me she doesn't like Cindy to be outside to protect her from getting insensitive comments from people, even relatives. but in her tone, I sensed that she was essentially trying to hide her. I talked to my husband and mother-in-law about wanting Cindy to be at the wedding. They declined, saying that she would take away the attention when it should be on us, and said they couldn't stand having guests asking questions or making comments about her. We had an argument over this and I insisted she come and refused to let it go. My husband and mother-in-law finally agreed and said they bring her to the wedding at the wedding. I noticed she wasn't there. As I looked closely, my husband lied, saying they brought her, but she had to be taken to the back to get her medicine. I waited and felt like he and his mom were lying and stalling. So I went to ask others if they saw her, and my husband and mother-in-law finally confessed to leaving her at home. I got mad at them and then immediately had someone go over to mother-in-law's house to get Cindy. My husband and mother-in-law started arguing about what I did and said I was acting recklessly and irrationally. I told them that it wasn't okay that they excluded their own flesh and blood from the wedding, and told them that hiding her and acting like she was something to be ashamed of was appalling. Cindy arrived with my husband's aunt, who was with her at the time, and I had them sit nearby. I made sure that Cindy enjoyed her time despite feeling out of place. However, my husband and mother-in-law were angry with me, and my mother-in-law said that what I did showed how I would be treating them for years to come by overriding their wishes and disrespecting them. I said that Cindy's present wasn't hurting anyone, but my husband said I ruined the wedding by making a scene and fussing over this. This set the tone for the rest of the week. He's still upset with me and keeps having conversations with his mom about what happened and making me out to be the disrespectful one in this situation, not the idiot. Why do you want to be with this man? Seriously, he's clearly an idiot. You may be able to get an annulment at this point and be able to avoid the whole divorce situation. If you were to have a child with a disability, how would he and his family treat them? I'm sorry, remind me again why you went through with the wedding with this man. Is this really the man you want to grow old with? Will he be with you in sickness and in health? What if you need strong medical assistance one day or end up with a disability from an accident, illness, or just old age? Will he hide you at home? Leave you if he can't even be there for his sister? He won't be there for you. He sounds like a spineless coward, doesn't want to make waves. He doesn't want to jeopardize any potential inheritance by standing up to his parents' behavior. The fact that he'd lied to his wife on their wedding day about it is a small preview of the life you can expect to lead with this guy. Them saying you ruined the wedding is also a big marinara flag. Story 5. At 25, male, have a vocational degree in plumbing but have worked as a septic tank cleaner/pipe cleaner for 5 years before going down this path. I initially wanted to be a clinical psychologist. However, the fear of debt made me pursue a trade instead. This was the best decision I ever made, as unlike my brother and friends, I have no debt and make $65K a year. My problems began with my aunt, who's an elitist. She believes that any job that doesn't require a college or a university degree is not a real job. This became apparent when we went out to dinner with several family members during dinner. The topic of jobs arose because my brother and I had not seen some of them since we were kids. My brother started by telling them about how he was at university studying to become a nuclear technician. When it was my turn, I explained how I had my plumbing degree and worked as a septic tank cleaner. This disgusted my aunt, who called me an absolute failure and said I should be like my brother. She then went on to say that I should go to college and get a real job before it was too late. She also said that no woman would want to date a man who makes as little as I do. This was when I decided to embarrass her by going on a small rant. I explained how people like me are the ones who helped prevent the spread of disease and the reason why people don't have to think about what happens after they flush their toilet. I then told her that selling MLM beauty products is not a real job and she could criticize me when she brings something to the table after the dinner. My parents were not too pleased because they believed that the way I dealt with her was too rude and I should not have stooped so low. I will admit that going after her for selling MLM beauty products was a dick move, as she is a victim and doesn't know any better. Despite this, I feel that I'm justified, as I would have not gone there if she had not insulted my education and profession. Am I the idiot here? Not the idiot. She insults your smart move to not get into debt and get a good job that can't be outsourced by the way that pays good money. I absolutely think it makes sense to bring it home. Using her MLM scam is a perfect example of failure. There's a reason people joke about plumbers driving luxury cars and owning boats. It's because they do, and unlike other jobs, there isn't a way so far to automate offshore plumbing. Yay, for job security. MLM isn't a real job. It's being a burden on your friends and family when she lays on the guilt trips to support her small business. I put people who mess with MLMs in the same group as people who smoke around small children or cheat on their spouses, and I advocate for calling all these people out whenever and wherever possible. Meanwhile, once the apocalypse finally starts, you want to guess who will be able to get clean water to you and spoiled water away from you? A plumber.